You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Burke. In today's episode, I'm discussing building unshakable confidence, overcoming imposter syndrome, and silencing the inner critic. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Okay, today is going to be a good one. We are diving into a topic that holds so many smart, ambitious women back. Imposter syndrome. That nagging feeling that maybe you're not as talented as people think, that you don't truly deserve your success, or that at any moment, someone's going to find you out. Does that sound familiar? If so, you are not alone. Imposter syndrome is a liar. You cannot believe everything your brain wants to tell you. And today we are shutting it down. So in this episode, I'll share how to recognize imposter syndrome and where it comes from, a 3-step process to overcome imposter syndrome using my proven confidence ladder method, and how to transform your self-talk and build self-validation so that you stop waiting for external approval. We have all been there, right? And because I don't just want you to listen, I want you to take action. I talk about this all the time, right? Passive versus active learning. Active is what I want you to be doing because that's where you make the most changes in your life. So I've created the Confidence Program, which is designed to help you rewire your thinking, build self-belief, and finally step into the confidence you know you need in order to reach that next level in both your life and your career. And listen, you can get instant access today. Just click on the link in the show notes, michelleburkecoaching.com/confidence. You'll find all of the information over there. All right, let's dive into this. First, let's talk about what imposter syndrome actually is. It is the belief that you don't deserve your achievements even when all evidence points otherwise. You feel like you're fooling people into thinking that you're more confident than you actually are. And let me tell you, this is so common, especially among high achievers. And here's how it might show up. Maybe you tell yourself, oh, I just got lucky when something good actually happens, right? Or maybe you hesitate to go for that next promotion because you think you're not quite ready. We talk about this all the time. Women will often wait, and research shows that we do this for all of our boxes to be checked in order to toss our hat into the ring for a promotion. Where on the other side of the coin, men will toss it right in there, sometimes not even fully knowing what the position is, right? We need to start giving ourselves a little bit more credit. Maybe you feel like you have to be perfect or else people will see you as a fraud. Or maybe you're constantly downplaying your success because you don't think it was really that big of a deal. If any of this sounds familiar, here's the good news. Imposter syndrome, again, is not the truth. It is just a thought pattern that you've practiced for too long, and today we're changing that. I was just talking to another coaching colleague, and we were talking about habits. And I just want to mention, our thinking is also a habit. So just like we use any other skill or method or hack, whatever you want to call it, right, to change a habit, we want to start thinking about where and how we can change our habit of thinking things that no longer serve us. But first, let's take a look at why it happens in the first place. What causes imposter syndrome? There are a couple things. I would say, number one, family conditioning, right? So if you grew up in an environment with high expectations or you were constantly criticized, you might have learned to doubt your worth. Here's something to keep in mind. External validation, external achievements do not determine your level of worthiness. You are here, you were born, you are worthy. Now what? And I always talk about this idea, right? If we just believe we're worthy and grow from that point in our lives versus thinking we are levels below worthiness and we're just striving for worthiness, you can get so much further along if you just make that first leap, believe you're worthy, and then what? Okay, another cause of imposter syndrome, critical self-talk. Your brain is wired to look for evidence of what you believe to be true. So if you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, your mind will search for proof of that. Again, remember, we've talked about the reticular activating system many times here. It's the way your brain filters this information to find evidence for what you believe to be true. You want to start taking into consideration noticing when you tell yourself that you're not good enough and just pausing and thinking about how you're learning to find all of the ways that you are, in fact, good enough. I would like to say more than good enough, but if we're making baby steps, which I always talk about, let's just take that moment to pause and to be able to become more aware of the critical self-talk in order to then change it. Number 3, societal pressures, right? Women especially are told to be confident, but not too confident. We're taught to be successful, but not to brag. No wonder we struggle and feel like we're not enough. There are these bits of double standards here, right? Maybe I can just insert the song by Taylor Swift, right? The Man. I think also Dolly Parton kind of touches on it in 9 to 5. And this past weekend, I was actually listening to Casey Musgraves, Follow Your Arrow. All of it talks about this idea that we cannot please anyone. So I'm here to suggest that maybe you start working on learning how to please yourself. And here's the real problem. If you don't work through this imposter syndrome, it will keep holding you back. It can stop you from going after the next level. It can limit your income potential and even maybe pass down self-doubt to the people around you. And I talk about this, right? You are an example of what is possible. Who is watching you? What do you want them to see? And I want us to be super aware of all of the examples of people around us, especially those of the younger generation. We have the potential to break some of these patterns. This could legitimately be generational change. Just take a minute and think about that. Generational change. So how do we do it, right? Let's talk about how to break free from these limiting beliefs. And I love to teach my clients a 3-step confidence ladder process, which really helps to shift their thinking and finally start believing in themselves. So step number 1, I like to call it the 3N process. So whenever imposter syndrome creeps in, here's what I want you to do. We talked about this, right? Number 1, notice. Catch the thought when it happens. Pay attention to what that inner critic is saying. Number 2, talked about this as well. Not believe. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. Did you hear me? Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. Our thoughts are not always facts, and you don't have to believe every thought your brain has to offer you. Number 3, next level thought. So instead of resisting the thought, ask yourself, what else could be true here? For example, if your brain says, I'm not ready for this opportunity, maybe you can shift it to, I have skills and experience that make me a fit for this. Now, you don't have to go and jump right into the, I'm the most amazing candidate for this, right? I'm not saying that we go from A to Z. What I'm suggesting is that you go from thought A to thought not A. So one step away. You start to wiggle the original thinking so that you can start to loosen that belief and maybe start to insert some new thoughts that help you get to the next level. Again, we're not making the huge jump from A to Z. We're just going from A to not A. Because here's the truth. Your thoughts create your reality. So it's time to start choosing thoughts that are useful, thoughts that serve you, and you can do that in incremental changes, which brings us to the idea of the latter thoughts. Now, I know that just saying be confident, right, isn't enough. You need a way to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. So this is where we have the idea of ladder thoughts that come into place. And here's how it works. Number 1, write down your current self-doubt thought. So for example, I'm not smart enough for this job. Number 2, decide on a goal thought. So for this instance, when you're thinking about your goal thought, that is going to be the Z, right? So maybe the goal thought is, I am fully qualified and capable. Now, we got to figure out how to get there, right? If I'm saying we're not going directly from A to Z. So number 3 is find thoughts in between that feel believable right now. So let's take 3 different in-between thoughts that perhaps you can think. Maybe you can think they hired me because they saw my potential. I mean, that seems believable, right? Of course, if they hired you, they probably saw potential. How about I've received positive feedback on my work, and I am sure you've all received positive feedback on your work. Again, yes, that is believable. Maybe another thought could be, I don't have to be perfect to be great at my job. I know. So many of us think that everything has to be done perfectly. Perfection is also a lie. There is no such thing. In fact, I think perfection is one of those things that it seems so lovely and amazing, and I am a perfectionist, except for it's really kind of like fear that's being disguised as perfection, right? Because when we are sitting around trying to make everything perfect, we're not always actually putting ourselves out there and putting out some messy stuff and putting out some stuff that could for sure be improved upon. Listen, if y'all follow me, you know this is not perfection. I try my best, but I also am a big believer in putting out B-level work, because I will tell you, putting out work, learning from it, moving on, putting out more work, learning from it, moving on, putting out more work, learning from it, moving on, is going to get you way more down that line, right? Moving the ball, whatever thing you want to say, you are going to get way more done doing that versus sitting around making everything be perfect before you actually put it out into the world. So practice these thoughts daily. So number one, you're going to write down where you are now. Number two, what your goal thought is. And then number three, maybe 3 to 5 ladder thoughts. So 3 to 5 new thoughts that can help you shift to get closer towards your goal thought. And then practice them daily, because here's the thing. Confidence isn't a personality trait. It is a skill, and skills are built through repetition. Confidence comes from taking action. I've talked about this before as well. Dan Sullivan talks about the 4 C's. A lot of times we think, again, going back to the perfectionistic thinking, that we need to have confidence in order to go after something. But the truth is, you need to have a commitment to it. And then you need to have the courage to actually start doing things. And as you start doing things, you build your capabilities. And that's when confidence comes into play. It is not confidence first and then take action. It is take action and build your confidence. They were just talking about this on a Peloton strength training workout also, right? Like, think about how good you feel after you've accomplished something that you really weren't sure if you could do. That's how you build resistance. That's how you build confidence. And you don't want to wait for confidence to just fall upon you. It's not going to. It's something that you have to build day to day in the actions that you're taking. And speaking of actions, let's talk about taking it up a notch. And this is something that I love to share with my clients. It's really confidence practice methods, right? And so when you're ending your day, ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I most proud of today? What were 3 wins for me today? And what do I want my opinion of myself to be? That's a good one, right? What do you want your opinion of yourself to be? We are often so worried about what others think of us. Guess what? It's none of our business what other people think of us. It is our business to decide what we want to think of ourselves. Because at the end of the day, confidence isn't about what other people think of you. It is about what you think of you. And isn't that great news, friends? We get to decide. We get to be in control. And who better than us, right? If you want things done right, you have to do them yourself. So think about how you want to think about yourself, because no one can convince you that you're good enough. Only you can do that. And remember, this is why I created the Confidence Program for you. It really is a step-by-step coaching program to help you rewire your thoughts, to eliminate self-doubt, and to finally feel like the strong, capable woman that you, by the way, already are. So if you're ready to go from second-guessing yourself to showing up more powerfully in your life and your career, head to the show notes. Again, michelleburkecoaching.com/confidence and join today. Okay, let's do a recap here. Imposter syndrome is a lie. Let's not allow it to hold us back any longer. Number 2, use the 3N process to reframe negative thoughts. Number 3, practice the ladder thoughts daily in order to build true confidence. And number 4, track your wins to reinforce your self-belief. We do have to keep building new habits, and the way you think about yourself is one of the most important habits that you can work on. And now here's what I want you to do. Again, click on the link for the Confidence Program. You do not have to figure this out alone. I will walk you through the exact steps to start believing in yourself for real. DM me on Instagram at Michelle Burke Coaching. That's where I think I have the most fun. And I would love to hear some of your biggest confidence shifts that you're making this week. I love, love, love to celebrate you. Remember, you are powerful, you are worthy, and you are more than enough. It is time for more of us to own that truth. Okay, friends, that's what I have for you today. Remember, it's your time. Be intentional with your life, and let's meet back here next week. But for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.